Hello friends, welcome to Azure video tutorials, and the previous sessions have covered on Azure Databricks introduction and architecture. And if you want to work in Azure Databricks, you should know Apache Spark and any of the programming languages like Java, Scala or Python or R language. So we are starting with PySpark. So PySpark is a Python and Spark combination. So this PySpark I will go through all the sessions. Let's start with the introduction to Spark. What is a Spark and how we are going to use, and what are the benefits if you are going to use this Spark engine. So Spark is a parallel processing framework and analytic engine that supports in-memory processing. So if you're talking about big data processing, so big data HDFS, there's all the file system is storing on the disk. So whenever you are processing this data on multi-node cluster, so multi-node work node clusters, so whenever you are processing this data, those data input output operations, it will take more time because it's reading or writing any data on disk. It will take more time because it is writing on disk and reading from disk. So instead of reading and writing from disk, you can store in memory. Like you can write in memory, you can read from memory. That's the best concept which is available in Spark. So Spark is using in-memory processing to boost the performance of big data analytics and machine learning. So where we are going to use this? So where we are going to use this means, so this Spark is an engine where we can store the data for processing. Data engineers can use this, machine learning, data science, they can use this, and data analysts, they can use this, and it will support multiple storage systems like us. If you look at this diagram, I have mentioned list of all the supporting storage systems. These all are Kafka, Elasticsearch, and MySQL, PostgreSQL, Hadoop, HDFS, HBase, MongoDB, Cassandra, and many other. And it will support as well as clouds like Azure as well as Amazon AWS. This is the overview introduction, like why Spark. So it is a parallel processing in-memory engine. So everything will be stored in memory, and it will give a best performance for big data analytics and machine learning, data science projects, as well as live streaming for big data sets. So if you have a huge data sets on live streaming, so you can use the Spark. So let's start with the components, architecture and components, available components in Spark. So Spark main engine, it will support a list of APIs. APIs is the programming languages. It will support R. So you can use R language to process the data in Spark engine. That's the main engine. And SQL also you can use. It's any structured data if you want to process from files or in the database, you can use this SQL. And Python also language you can use in Spark, and Scala and Java. So Scala and Java is a compiled languages. So JVM will be used here. These are the list of APIs it is supporting, and other components. If you look at this SQL, that Spark SQL. So there is another component called Spark SQL. So it is a structured data. If you have a structured data, if you want to do some processing, ETL or analyzing, or data scientist or data engineer part, so you can use the Spark SQL. And streaming, live streaming. If you have a huge source data, live streaming data, if you want to analyze those data, so you can use this another component called live streaming. So it will support big data sets like huge data if you are streaming, so you can use this. And machine learning, so data science part and machine learning, if you have a huge algorithms, if you want to implement, if you want to use existing algorithms, so you can use MLibs, that's a machine learning. And other one is called GraphX. So this component is mainly for graphs and maps display. So if you have a data and if you want to display the graphs, multiple graphs, so it will support this all graphs engine. That's called a GraphX. So multiple types of graphs and charts as well as maps. So everything will support here. So you can use if you have any requirement to show your analysis data. So you can use this. This all the components and complete architecture. But this is a core engine where Spark engine everything will be processed. And this is the APIs, you can say programming language we are using in to do some operations in Spark. Then execution process. How a Spark will be executed whenever you are running. So it's like a big data. If you have a master and slave nodes like worker nodes, here also same process. The driver program is a master. You can say that this program and worker nodes. There's multiple worker nodes. This driver program will divide you, whatever you are executing a job. This driver program will divide your job to multiple tasks, and those tasks will be sent to your worker node. In worker node, we'll have a executor. This executor will run this task. Okay, and there is other option called cache. So cache, if you want to use this cache, so whenever you are doing that multiple operations on particular data, so every time you are doing some reading data from particular object or particular data frame or particular RDD, so you can use that cache, and it will give a best performance. That option also is available. And here you will be notifying this as Spark context. So Spark context is a work area where this driver program will create in first, and now latest version we are calling as a Spark session. So session means once you start any of the job, so it will be created this. So without this you cannot run any of this jobs. So Spark context will be created this driver program, and there it's like a gateway of your Spark jobs. Okay, and this is the major one where it will communicating all these cluster managers, worker nodes, all the jobs, everything. So everything this Spark context will be communicating and doing all these activities. And if you create one Spark context, you can use that, and another one you cannot create. If you want to create another Spark context, you have to stop existing one. That's a created Spark context. You can use a stop particular context name you can define, and that you can stop, and you can create another context. So only one context can be created per session. So it's like a latest version, it is we are calling as a Spark session. So older version you can say Spark context. So let's move list of how the data is storing inside this memory, in memory. So Spark, everything will store in memory, right? How it will store and how we will process this data, that's a major concept in Spark. Those we will call as RDD. So initial version they release with RDD. That's a resilient distributed data set. So whatever your data processing to this Spark engine, the Spark engine will create a RDDs. It's like a data, if you're talking about, if you know a database, it's a data set. One table will have a data, right? It's like RDD will have a data, but that data is not editable. So if you want to edit the data, you can select the data and you can create another RDD. That's called. So RDD is not editable. So everything will store in memory only, and it will give a fault tolerance and other options. There are best features available. This is Spark 1.0. They came with the RDD, and later they released with the data frame. So data frame is having additional features like structured based. Structured based means if you have a file with a header and records, if you have a table data with a header and rows like column names and rows, like it's, you can say schema. So if any relational database data, any flat files which is having header, so it will take the schema. It looks exactly as a table structure, or you can go for JSON format also, like nested fields, nested columns structure. So you can use this data frames. So data frames will give best features. They released in Spark 1.3, and after that they released with this data set. So data set is a combination of both features related to RDD and this data frame. So once you start using this RDD and the data frame, then you will be getting more in depth what is exactly data frame, what is exactly RDD, and the data set you can use only in Scala and Java, not in Python and R, because in Python, or if you are working on latest development, default to go for a data frame. Okay, and if any existing jobs or existing code it is available, they may be older version, they are using RDD, but latest development if you are working, so they are suggested to use data frame. It will give best features. That's related to APIs, how data is stored inside this memory. There are three ways, but this third one is only Scala and Java only using. That's a JVM related, and data set will have both features, like RDD is a functional programming and type safe. Data frame again, it's as I told, relational model like schema and will be there, and query optimization and sorting, shuffling, so other features. But this data set only you can use Scala and Java, but if you are working on R or Python, you can create a data frame, you can use this. This is related to APIs, how we are storing this data and we are doing this all data transformations. So there, when you are working on operations on this data set or RDD, those we will call as a here transformations and actions we will tell. We will call as a transformations and actions. But before that, I will show you how execution will happen. So as I told you, introduction architecture, the driver program will whatever you are scheduling your job or running your job, that job will driver program will divide the task, and those tasks will send to your executor. Those executor, that worker nodes, these are worker nodes, okay, and that executor will identify the empty slots and it will assign the task. Okay, those executor, these are the executors. Those main aim is to identify the slots and run the task, whichever task they sent by driver. Okay, so this is the Spark of physical cluster execution, how it will execute wherever free slots are there. Like here you see task, 2 task is complete. Here is see, these are the slots which is available slots. This executor will assign those tasks here and it will be done. So this is the execution, physical execution. And whatever you are doing the data transformation inside this Spark cluster, so whatever you are storing this data in RDD or data frame, there we are using those commands. Those commands will be divided as 2 types: transformations and actions. Transformations is nothing but a changing some data. So for example, you have taken 10 records, those 10 records again you are doing some changes, those are transformations. So it will change some data. That's why here the diagram you see. So when the data is changing, those commands are transformations. Existing data you are using, existing data you are printing, you can say you are printing. So those we will call as actions. So transformations are lazy. Okay, lazy means whenever you are writing any transformation code, it won't be executed directly. Whenever you are triggering these actions, that time those transformation will be executed. So whenever you are calling those, that time only it will be executed. And actions, this is a list, only small list I have mentioned, but there are huge list that we will cover in a technical part. Default standard one, we will use the data frame.show, like rdd.show. It will show the data, available data, and count, it will take the count from existing data and it will collect the data and saving this data into some of the folder. We are not changing any data here. But transformations means you can select only few columns data. Distinct, so if you have 10 records, out of 10, 2 are duplicates are there. Distinct means it will give only 8 records, 2 duplicate will be removed. So that's called, it is changing data, but here we are not changing any data. Existing data only we are displaying here. Group by, sum, order by, filter, limit, these all are transformations. Transformation means the data is changing from one RDD to another RDD. So when you are using transformation, you have to create another RDD, or you can go for simply displaying the data. So these are transformations and actions. So these are the list of transformation actions available. General mathematical calculations like statistical calculations are available. Same thing for actions. Relational things like set operators, union, intersection, subtract, distinct, Cartesian, and zip. Same thing for the data structure, input output, like when you are storing this data, or here these are the actions are storing this data. Save as a text file, save as a sequence file, save as object file. These are different formats you can use for saving. These are actions. And transformations related with the indexes, partitions, like coalesce and repartition. So these all are, we can use this. Same thing for general filter, map, flat map, map partitions, group by, sort by. These all are related to transformations. Same thing for actions: reduce, collect, aggregate, fold, first. The first records it will display like this. So we will cover all this individual in next future sessions. These are introduction to Spark, and what are the things we are going to do with the Spark, and a major work. These are major transformation actions we are using in Spark. And whatever you are using a language, if you are going for Python, so we will cover all this PySpark related, how to create a context first, because we need to define a context, then only we can go for executing all these things. All the transformations and actions will cover in future sessions. So thank you very much for watching my videos.